Derek Stahl begins our team coverage from the Capitol tonight. Hi, Derek.
Teresa, the streets all around the Capitol Square remain closed at this hour. The protests have died down a bit, but you can see there are still dozens of protesters here. Police estimate that at the height of these rallies, there were 60,000 people outside, another 8,000 or so inside the Capitol. Numbers that are certainly bolstered by the fact that for the first time, there are now supporters on both sides of this budget issue. Inside the Capitol, it was a pro-labor stronghold once again. Outside, the now familiar union chants echoed throughout the square.
This is what democracy looks like.
But for the first time, there was a new set of voices. Hundreds of Tea Party supporters crowded onto the steps of the Capitol, bussed in from all over the state. Conservative talk show host Vicki McKenna got their rally started.
It is time now that the government that we elected be allowed to govern as we demanded.
Speaker after speaker demanding attention to a message that's been mostly absent from the Capitol Square.
How many more citizens need to leave this state before they wake up? This is why you elected Governor Scott Walker, and he's doing his job.
In the crowd, we spotted Wisconsin State Treasurer Kurt Schuller. He says eliminating most collective bargaining rights for unions is a critical part of the governor's bill.
We need to give our local communities the power to control their budgets, because there are going to be massive cuts to state aid to the local communities. And we have to give them some tool so that they can avoid laying off their public employees.
Meanwhile, pro-labor supporters hovered along the outskirts of the Tea Party rally, their own numbers swelling with teachers and organized labor from out of state.
Iowa teachers could be next, and I would love to have Wisconsin teachers come down and support us too.
Both sides are fully aware that what happens here could echo out into other parts of the country. Now, Ohio, New Jersey, and several other states are considering similar.
Not think the White House.
I kind of went backwards in time.
Let's join him on that journey back in time when this was what people relied on.
Old radios are not only a piece of history, but a lot of them are very beautiful.
So trying to get that.
Beautiful and nostalgic, but most of the time, they just don't work. That's where Michael Lewis comes in.
All the old radio shops died out decades ago.
So he's transformed his old Oregon farmhouse into a workshop to fix antique radios.
Up here on the third floor of his house is where Michael stores all of his radios, and he's got a really incredible collection. There are about 250 radios here, dating back all the way to the 1920s.
Middle to late 1930s radios in the Art Deco style, a primitive precursor of the boombox. These are Zenith transoceanic radios.
For the past 30 years, this has been Michael's passion, and now his full-time job. Restoring these pieces of history for customers from all over.
The radios will end up working as they did the day they came out of the factory.
It begins with testing all the parts and replacing the ones that don't work.
So I'm going to bridge this gap here where the original was.
And some of these parts are more than 80 years old, so replacing and rebuilding them is a skill you won't find many places.
I would expect that I'm probably one of the top 10 in the country.
And that's why he's passing on his expertise to students who want to learn the craft.
I greatly enjoy teaching people how to do this, and I want that art to stay alive.
Giving new life to the past is why we're calling this Remade in Wisconsin.
And let me say welcome to the University of Wisconsin Arboretum. The Arboretum is a little over 1,200 acres. I want to get us into the woods to see the native wildflowers. It's no news to anybody that we're having an incredibly early spring and a long period of warm weather. So things that we normally don't see blooming until May are out now. I used to joke about May apples that here in Wisconsin we ought to call them June apples because that's when they bloom, but this year they're going to be April apples. We lived outdoors before we lived indoors, and we did evolve in tandem with all of these other things. And so when the weather warms up, we want to be out. We're mammals, just like many other kinds of animals.
Yeah, it got really nice really early, so I thought might as well take advantage of that because you can get the same amount of stuff done, but enjoy the weather at the same time.
And we're going sailing. Once we finish, we'll take those white boats out. If you're just trying to go out with your friends and have a good time like this, a little bit of wind if you're just going out with your friends. If I'm windsurfing, I want it to be 25 miles per hour or more.
All the dandelions have come up and it's now time to pull them. A lot sooner than I expected. Needless to say, the children have been extra active.
Well, our business is all about meeting people. A lot more people want to talk to us on days like today.
We're programmed to notice beauty, and I think there's a purpose to that. It's very much in our nature to get out and appreciate that.